Hello, welcome back to the Paper Turtle. Today I'm going to be putting together the signatures for this journal that we started to work on the other day. And it's probably, hopefully, going to be just kind of a quick video just to show you the different papers that I'm choosing and to see how I size them and that kind of thing. This is the cover that we made the other day, and I think it came out pretty good, I think. So I'm anxious to get moving on this and to see how it all comes out. So what I did was I have already cut my, I guess my guide paper is what I call it. This is the perfect size. I don't want anything any bigger than this. So everything will be cut to this size or smaller. I measured it. It fits inside the book exactly the way that I want it to. So this is my guide paper, and it actually measures, I will tell you, it is 9.5 inches high, and each page, each side is 6 3/4, and the entire makes the entire thing 13 1/4, I think 13 3/4. So everything will be sized to this. So I went and I picked out a few different papers to use. This is not a paper. I think I'm going to just put it into the journal like this. So that one I'm going to set aside for now. And I have 2 doilies. These doilies are a little bit larger, a little bit too large to use in the smaller books. So I figured this is a good opportunity to use them in a larger book. This one I had tried to use in another book, but it was just stuck out too much. So that's what I'm going to put in. And then I don't have much coffee dyed paper because I've only dyed paper once as an experiment to see how it would come out and if I would like it. And I did, and it came out okay, so I'll do it again. But I'm just using a few in this book because I don't have very much. This is a ledger, coffee dyed ledger, and these don't need to be cut, so I will just be folding those and putting those in the book. And then I have some stationery that I picked up at a thrift store or estate sale or something, and these will they don't need to be cut. They'll be folded and put in the book. Here's some more stationery, smaller stationery. I have a couple of envelopes. I need to find one more for the third signature. And this is some parchment paper, like what you used to do your resumes on. That also does not need to be cut. And my guide paper is from an art book, and I've shown you the art books in a haul video, or maybe I haven't put the video up yet. I'm not sure, but I have 3 of these books that I bought at an estate sale, and they are inside. It gives you instruction on how to paint. And there's some of those. Oh, I might put those in too. I like those. So maybe I'll put some of those in. But I have 3 of these books, so I'll have to go through the books and choose which ones I want. But these are really good because they're a big size. So that's what I used for my guide paper. So I have 3 of those, one for each signature. And then this is quilting graph paper made for quilters, which I also picked up at an estate sale. And the last piece, no, not the last piece, but 2 more pieces. This is matte paper torn from an atlas, and I just picked different colors just to have a variety in there. I like color in my books, and as much as I try to color coordinate them, it never works because I see something and it's pretty and I just stick it in there. And this is a book-themed journal. So what I have are these giant pages from giant children's books. This particular one is from Alice in Wonderland. So I can get 3 pages I can actually get 4 pages out of these, but I'm only going to use 3 of them. So I'll probably use this part, and I know that I want to use this part. So that'll be 2 of the pages. So that is what I'm working on. And if you want to just, you know, get out your craft stuff, pull up a chair and craft along with me, we will get working on that. So what I'm going to do is just use my base page to see how big I need to cut this. And I think what I'm going to do with these is I would like the center square. So I'm going to just center my guide paper on there, find a line to use, and use that to cut my paper. I think that'll work pretty good. So it's going to be this line here and this line here, and that'll be pretty easy to trim. I'm just going to get out my cutter. Just want to make sure it wasn't too long for my cutter, and I'd have to use scissors, and God knows I can't cut straight with scissors. I can barely cut straight with the cutter, for heaven's sakes. I watch these other people, and they just take their scissors with no guidelines or anything and just cut. And they cut perfectly straight lines, and I'm so fascinated by that because I can't do it. I cannot cut a straight line to save my life. I have to rely on my cutter. There's one. And then this one I will just line up on here, I guess, somehow. It's right there, and I'll just mark those the same way. And the strips that I cut off will be used somewhere else in the journal, probably as a background on a tag or something like that, because I don't waste anything, and also because it gives it a little bit of consistency in the journal to use the same paper more than one spot. That's how my mind thinks anyway. Wait, where am I? Okay. I told you I can't cut a straight line. And when I do mine, I know it doesn't have to be done this way. I have a hard time just kind of letting go and letting things flow without any rhyme or reason, because I'm kind of a keep it coordinated kind of person. I don't know why, but it's just how I am. So when I make my signatures, I feel like each signature has to have the same papers in it. And I know it doesn't, and it would be more interesting if it didn't. It's just how my mind works. And maybe at some point I will get away from that. But for now, that's how it works. So if I'm doing 3 signatures like I am for this book, I need 3 pieces of the same paper, 1 for each signature. And if I'm going to put it in a pocket, I'm going to put a pocket in on each signature. I don't know why. It's just the way it goes. Okay, so I have my graph paper. And now I am going to cut my map paper. Again, I'm going to use my my guide paper. And I think I'm going to maybe center it on like this. And I'm going to just mark here and here. And this is all approximate because it doesn't have to be exact. In fact, it might, I just don't want it to be any bigger is all. So it can be a little bit smaller, but I just don't want it to be bigger than this because those are going to be the first pages, I think. So I'm going to do it like just inside the mark that I made. So it'll be just a tiny, teeny bit smaller. And let's see. Well, obviously didn't do that one straight. And since the paper is bigger than my cutter, I'm just going to be brave. Try to cut straight. I know, it's a little snippet. I'm silly about that. I can't help it. It's just the way I am. And I guess I'll have to do this way. Okay, Mary, this isn't working like this. No. I hope that you find my videos entertaining, because I certainly do. I don't do anything conventional. I don't do anything the proper way. And I think this might be a little too long. And I fumble along because it's all, I just do it as I go. You know what I mean? I'm not that experienced and practiced in it that I can just go zip, zip, zip and get it done. Maybe someday I will, but not yet. And so like I said, I just kind of go along and whatever. I think I don't know. I like this word Paris on there, so maybe I will. And I'll probably end up covering it up when I decorate. Who knows? So I'm just marking the edges of it just so I know how big I don't want it. That didn't make any sense, did it? How big I don't want it. It did to me. Now, I know there's going to be some people who are going to watch this and they know me. So they're going to totally laugh at me because I don't speak like perfectly well, as you can tell. I kind of fumble around a lot with my talking, but that's just how I am, like I said. And there's, I want you to stick with me though. Even if you're watching this and you think, oh, she fumbles around too much, she's kind of boring, blah, blah, blah. But stick with me, please, because as I get more and more used to doing this, do you see what I mean about not being able to cut straight? Oh my gosh, we're talking 1/4 of an inch and I couldn't cut it straight. But that's okay. As you get to know me and as I get more and more comfortable doing this, it'll flow better and you'll learn to love me. I'm sure you will. There's a YouTuber, and I'm not going to mention her by name, but there's one that I started to watch, and when I first started to watch her, I had a hard time because her voice just was, I don't know. You know how some people's voices, they just bother you? Like mine probably bothers you. Well, her voice just kind of bothered me a little bit, and I wasn't crazy about it. But the more that I watched her, I liked watching her because I liked what she did. So I kind of tolerated the voice because I liked what she did. But But the more I watched her, the more I liked her. And so she's one of my favorites now. And I'm hoping that that's what will happen with me, is that, okay, maybe my voice is, and my speech pattern is a little bit wonky and not real professional and all of that stuff. But maybe with time, as you watch me, you'll learn to love me. People that know me do, I think. I don't know. I hope they do. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, if you stick with me, that you won't mind my voice after a while, and that maybe you'll just like my content, and you'll like what I do. And as I relax with the camera more and more, we can joke around and have some fun. So just stick with me. Keep watching. We'll get there. It's a learning process for me. I'm not a TV personality. I'm not an online personality. I'm just a normal person. And I'm putting myself out there in front of these cameras just for the fun of it. And actually, growing up, I was always very, very shy. I was very shy. I would never have done something like this in my younger days. Never. This is like way out of my box. In fact, I even told somebody that I was doing YouTube videos, and they're like, "You?" They were very surprised, because this is way out of my comfort zone. But I watch them, and I enjoy them, so I thought maybe I would enjoy making videos. So that's why I do it. Now, the other pages, I think, are going to be too big for my cutter, so way too big. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and use a ruler and scissors on this one. So wish me luck in cutting straight. All right, what I wanted on this, I want this part with the book in it, because this is a book-themed journal. So I'm going to put this page just like this. And that's too bad that it's not perfectly the right width, but that's okay. We can deal with it. All right. So what I'm going to do is just draw a line where I need to cut. Hopefully I can do this straight, or close to straight. If anybody has any tips for me on how to cut straight and draw straight lines, that would be helpful. As you can see, I use a ruler, but I'm not... I've never been what I would consider a crafty person. Certainly not an artsy person. I can't draw at all. I've tried. I've bought books to learn how to draw, and I've tried to do it. And I need to put more time in it, because I know, like everything else, it just takes practice. And I need to do that. But I don't have a whole lot of time to just sit and try to draw. Now I have, which is kind of funny, because I don't work. We retired young, very young, which I'm so thankful that I was able to do that. That's my husband's job, has allowed us to do that. So I do have time. We do a lot of things. We're very active. We go places. We hike. We kayak. We bike ride. We camp. So I'm not always sitting around in my craft room like I would love to. So I don't have as much time to devote to this kind of stuff as I like to, but I do have a lot of free time because I'm not working. Ooh, that's gonna be, isn't that pretty? I like that. That's my signature page. Maybe I'll put that on the outside, as the first page in the signature. Oh, that's pretty. That's not so pretty, but I can cover her up with Queen of Hearts. It's just not very nice. She almost looks like she's crying, but she's not. Okay, so that's one. I like that page. Now, I think that that one's a little short. Let me see what I can get out of the other page. This page, I want this. So I think I'm going to do it. I might have to grab another page because I think I want the Mad Hatter in there. So I'm going to do it like this, which means I'll have to grab another page, which is okay because I'll use the other ones for something else, the scraps. I can show you how big this book is. This book is like huge, and I have 3 of them. I have Alice in Wonderland. I'll have to check the other 2 and tell you what they are. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a boring video. I'm sorry. So let me see, what can I chat about? I can tell you a little bit more about myself if you're interested. Maybe you're not interested. I don't know. Fast forward if you want. Yeah, I used to work. I was in a professional position. My husband, his job allowed him to retire. He was in his job for 28 years, and that gave him a decent enough pension that we don't have to work right now. Now, we're not living high on the hog, believe me. We simplified our lives in the years leading up to his retirement so that we could afford to retire. And we don't need a lot of money. We're just enjoying life, and that's the whole thing, is that you work for years and years and years, and if you work in a very stressful job like my husband did, after 28 years, you are ready. And we just enjoy life. We're not taking expensive trips to Europe or anything like that. We can't afford to do that. We don't live in an expensive house. We don't have a expensive style of living. But, alright, so that's not going to be in the center of the page, obviously. But I think that you'll get the gist of it. Anyway, so we are retired and we're just enjoying life. And like I said, it might not be high on the hog or anything, but I think I'm going to use this. It's a little bit shorter than, it's not as tall as the other pages, but that's okay. They don't have to all be tall pages. I'm just going to cut off. I just don't want it wider. I'm attempting this without even a line. So I say to people, if you can financially retire, do it. Don't wait to get more money. If you can do it, do it. Because we've seen way too many people who did not retire. They kept working even though they could. And then they got sick, or there was a tragic accident or something, and they never got to enjoy their retirement. And we find that to be very, very sad. After working all those many years, you don't get to enjoy your retirement. And So my advice is, if you can do it, do it. Enjoy yourself. That's what life, that's why you're working, so that you can someday enjoy life. Don't put it off. That old saying that life is too short is so, so true. Okay, so I'm gathering up all my stuff here, and I'm going to see what I have for signatures. All right, so 1, 2, 3. But like I said, I think this is going to be my very first one, just because that's so pretty. So that's one signature there. And oh, I didn't realize these were blank. I never looked on the back of this paper. I didn't realize it was blank. That's okay. I do not mind that at all. All of these papers and stuff I've gotten at estate sales or thrift shops. That's where I get all of my stuff. And I have so many supplies right now that I have to use up. I keep telling myself, no more thrift shopping, you have to stop. But I can't help it. And then I'll see a really good estate sale. I have an app that lists all the estate sales in the area. And I see a really good estate sale. And I say, I gotta go to that one, because there's some good stuff there. So I go to another estate sale. And I pick up more stuff. I'm sure that most of you feel my pain. And I think I know I've mentioned this before. I am trying to sell some of the surplus stuff in my Etsy store. It's not going very well. I don't know. Maybe I don't display it well enough, or I don't have the right tags to attract people to it, or something. I don't know, but I've only sold one thing so far. I don't know. I don't know why. I have 1, 2. Okay, there's the third one. But if you want to check it out, go check it out. And I'm going to keep putting stuff up there. Keep trying to see what attracts people, what they're looking for, what they want to buy, or what they don't want to buy. It's tricky. I think it's a tricky business. Etsy is. And there's a couple of junk journalers that I follow on YouTube that also have Etsy stores, and they sell stuff that they buy at flea markets and estate sales and stuff. And I think that they're pretty successful at it, because I see their inventory moving pretty quickly. So I think that I just have to get my name out there and get the word out. And so I appreciate any traffic that you could help with. These are going to be small, but that's all right. I like different size pages in my journals. This is some stationery that I bought. I bought a lot of stationery. When I was a teenager, I had pen pals. It was the thing to do. That was before computers and the internet. And it was the thing to do to have pen pals. And I had a bunch of them, and I loved it. And along with that hobby of writing letters, I collected stationery. And I had a whole bunch of stationery. So I don't have any of my original stationery left. I wish that I did. I did get rid of it all. But so now I'm attracted to stationery. And I've collected quite a bit of it. And if you ever do any swaps with me, you'll probably get some stationery in there, because That's just one of the things that I really like. And, you know, if you buy a whole box of stationery, you get quite a bit of paper in there. So I like to share it. And, you know, whenever you have a large quantity of any one thing, after a while you get kind of sick of using it in your journals. So you want to pass it along. And somebody else that's new and fresh, and they would really like it and appreciate it. So I really need to do some more coffee dyeing. Like I said earlier, I've only done one batch of it, and I've used up almost all of it now. And I don't, as you can see, my entire journals are not coffee dyed paper. I just like the clean, crisp look of a lot of the papers out there, so I don't use all coffee dye, but I do like it. Wasn't sure I would at first, but I do. And these are coffee dyed. You can't tell, but they are coffee dyed. I didn't leave everything in there for too long because I was afraid of it getting too saturated. You know, it was the first time I had done it, so I didn't know how to do it exactly. But, so they're very lightly dyed. But I like it. I still like the look. Okay, so this needs this, and this. And the order of these papers will change as I work in my journal. I'm not going to sew them in until later because I'd like to change things up all the time. So things will get moved around in the journal. And I think I want, yeah, that one's a perfect size for this. I like that. Did not put a coffee dye in here. This journal, I'll tell you who this journal's going for because I know she won't watch this. This journal is going to my mother for Christmas. I really hope that she likes it. I hope she uses it and doesn't just, you know, sit it on a shelf and look at it, because it's really meant to be used. I want it to be used. She loves books. She loves to read. So that's why I'm doing it as a book theme. And so I hope she likes it. I want to leave her plenty of space to write, maybe some memorabilia or something, because she does a lot of things, like they go places and they do a little bit of traveling. Right now she's on vacation in Hawaii, so okay. I think I'm going to need to make these add a few more pages in them. I don't want to add too many pages because the last book that I made, I had quite a few pages, but once I put all the embellishments and everything in, it got really, really, really chunky, which I don't mind it being chunky. They're fun when they're chunky, but I think I had too much in them, so I'm going to make this one a little bit lighter on with the pages, and then I can add a little bit more chunk to them. It'll allow me to do that. Okay, so here's what I have so far, and I will be having to add a few more. I'll have to go find what I want, because when I put it in the journal, it doesn't fill it up. Let me see if I can show you. See how it does not quite fill up the whole spine. Now I don't want it to fill up the whole thing because we want to allow for the chunk, but I can put a few more papers in there. So I will be looking for more paper to add to this. And isn't that gorgeous? I love that. And then I'll be back with maybe doing some of the embellishments to go in here. So I hope that you're enjoying this. I hope it's not too boring, and I don't know, keep coming back, because I'll be doing different things, and I'll be doing some more haul videos, and maybe at some point later on I'll do a little bit of some scrapbooking, because that's another thing that I do, if you're interested in that. So anyway, that's it for today, and thanks for watching The Paper Turtle. Check out my Etsy shop, The Paper Turtle Shop, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.